how I use ChatGPT to make money online. Get ready, because this training is going to be like a course that other people charge lots of money for. Because today I'm doing something live that's never been done before. I'm going in ChatGPT through the memory, the history, and asking it exactly how I used ChatGPT over the last 3 years to make money online. We're going to go line by line. We're going to show everything start to finish. How I use this, what kind of prompts I use, what the outputs are, what ultimately makes money, and how you can get started with AI to build a business in 2026. This is going to be a doozy. As you can see here, we went through the entire history to show you exactly how I've used ChatGPT to make millions of dollars online over the last 3 years. And you can see it just keeps going and going and going. Not only that, but we're going to throw it in Manus to get some slides to show you the breakdown of how and why I use the prompts I do. We're going to break down my affiliate strategies using Gemini Deep Research, as you can see right here. And we're going to use Notebook LM to synthesize exactly what I'm doing and how I use it to make money online every single day. So if you're excited to learn exactly how I use ChatGPT to make money online with nothing held back, then smash a like button and let's go to work. All right, everyone, welcome to the show. Today what we're doing is we're firing up ChatGPT and asking it, based on my history, what exactly do I use to make money with AI? This is super important because what you're going to get to see is behind the scenes, what really goes on, kind of like an unfiltered version of let's take a look under the hood and see exactly how Marcus makes money with AI. Now, for some context, I've been using AI for the last 3 years. Done a lot with it, made millions of dollars with it, and built several different businesses using AI, the content that AI puts out, and more. Now, while I've made a lot of money doing this, I want you to remember that the vast majority of people trying to quote-unquote make money online make nothing. So we need to take everything with a grain of salt, understand that this is a business, understand exactly what we're getting into. What I'm going to reveal to you here is how I use AI. We are going to go behind the scenes, under the hood, and look exactly at what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis to use AI to make money. Now, some of the things that we'll get into is coding, creating images, creating content, using AI to think in a different way, using AI to create things where otherwise I would have to hire employees, and all different things like that. Super important to look at. This is part of our 12 days of prompting that we are putting on right now, where we're actually going through and dissecting some of the prompts that I use in my business to build and grow an income, and giving some of those to you guys. So more information about how those work in just a little bit. When we go through and look at this, we need to understand exactly what's going on and how we're making money with AI. What is it that I do that other people don't do, and what are other people doing that I don't do? We need to understand this very, very cut and dry. So what I did first and foremost is I started out with ChatGPT, and I asked it to go back through all of my history. A lot of you guys know that ChatGPT has a ridiculous memory as of a couple months ago, and it remembers and looks through everything that you've talked about it or to it about. And when we look at that, I did a video where we talked about how OpenAI is literally building a profile based on how you use AI. Super important. Definitely go watch that video. If you guys are new here, binge watch my videos. There's a lot of good stuff here to help you understand AI. But what I did is I said, okay, with this memory model, instead of asking it, hey, what did I talk about here and how does this work? What I did is say, go through my entire history of talking to you over the last 3 years and tell me what I use AI for. What is it that I come here every day and actually get? How is it helping me? How do I use it? How do I prompt it? And what are the thought processes behind it? When we go through on this, we can see it says how Marcus Campbell actually uses ChatGPT. Now, we went through and got a whole bunch of things from affiliates, offers, tools and calculators, lead capture, membership funnels, domain value, and all kinds of things. So what we're seeing is a lay of the land of, okay, how is Marcus using AI? How are we asking ChatGPT things, and what do we ask? Where the vast majority of people are out there asking AI for like a report or write a blog post or something like that, I find that I actually use AI differently. I'm not asking things like write a blog post. I'm asking things like, what's the business model behind this? What is the strategy behind this? what tools could I add to this, or what could convert. This is very important because what we need to understand is that making money online and building businesses is all about strategy. A lot of people think it's about the busy work, which is why videos on how to use a tool go insanely viral, because using the tool, okay, yeah, we do need to learn it, but that's not where the money is. That's super important. So what we're going to do is not so much what can ChatGPT do, but what is it that I'm using ChatGPT for? Now, I went through and I actually synthesized these in Gemini. I did Gemini deep research with my affiliate marketing strategies, and then these are the public strategies. So if you were to study all of my videos, this is kind of an idea of what you would get. And the reason I did this is because I wanted to get like the behind the scenes stuff of like, hey, ChatGPT, like if I had an employee and you were like, hey, buddy, what does Marcus do all day? How does he make money? That employee would have different insight than just things that I teach here on the channel. So what I wanted to do is kind of get that under the hood type of stuff and say, what is it that we're actually doing? What is it that's actually making money here? How do we use this different? And how do I teach other people that are watching this video exactly what I'm doing so that they can get this kind of stuff, so that they can start thinking different. Now, another thing that I did is I took the entire ChatGPT log here, and I will have these notes available for you. I took this entire ChatGPT log and I threw it into Notebook LM. That way we can get a nice structure and looking at what's actually going on. So the idea here is, let's take AI, let's take a look at what Marcus is doing different, how he uses AI different, so that we can understand what is actually making money. What is the strategy behind it? Now, going through here, the core concepts we're going to look at is exploring the problem conversationally. So where a lot of people will ask a question, what I do is I'll explore something. I'll go through and say, okay, what are all the top businesses that use this? Or what are the ways to cut down on calories that do this thing? Or something very specific. So we're going to start with the conversational type approach, and then we're going to go into real scenarios and clarify definitions. And what we're doing is we're looking for things. As an AI creator, as someone who's using AI to build a business, we want to look for those gaps and understand things in a different way. Like when I did the video where we talked about the Disney AI strategy, and we talked about, okay, how did they go out there and use different stories to get insanely huge business results? Well, if we can understand that process and apply that to something else, that, in my opinion, from what I've seen over the years of doing this, is the biggest thing in AI, because comparative is key. And if I could have it find things that don't seem to link together and find how they link together, boom, I got something that'll work good. Now, what this does is it prevents useless content. I would venture to say that 90% of the people trying to use AI to make content are making useless junk with AI hallucination and garbage. So what we want to do first and foremost, this is a first takeaway. If you're taking notes, write these down. We will have the notes also over at personalityprompts.com. We're going to have those as well as the 12 prompts that are going to be released over the next couple of days for our 12 days of prompting promo, okay? So what we're doing is we're not building content, we're understanding the situation first. Lay of the land. This is something you're going to see that's a theme in everything I do. Number two, we're going to map the market and authority stack. So what we're going to do is we're going to borrow the market's existing trust, not fight it. So what I do oftentimes with AI is I will ask it, identify the top experts in this field. And then I'll go through and get something even more specific. So if I was to go to ChatGPT right like this and do a new chat, and I was to say, tell me the top experts in the, let's say, personal help growth market, and what their top tips are, or strategies or core concepts are. List 50. Now, I'm going to do this because it'll probably just list 10, and then it'll start going off the deep end with all this weird stuff. So what I want to do is I want to keep it very framed and very concise. This will go through and it'll get the lay of the land. What it's like is almost like training that AI or reframing where it's going. Now, when I go through and do stuff like this, what you're going to see is I'm borrowing the market's existing trust. I'm looking at what's going on in the market, kind of building from there. We're identifying top experts, looking at frameworks, what are different business strategies, spotting gaps and contradictions. What we need to do is we need to be in the age of AI like an octopus, right? You got to have like your 8 arms out there going and looking for things and extracting what you want and figuring out what you need. AI is brilliant at this stuff, yet very few people use it in these ways to get the real deal results. When we go through and we do this and we map the authority first, you're going to see that it starts to literally change everything. So here's our list of top people. Now I could go through and say, now just list the strategy names. I can go through and get all of this stuff and be like, okay, here's this strategy, here's that strategy, state control, 5-second rule, identity-based habits. And then what I'm doing is I'm starting to take this in a different way, understand what's going on, and boom, I can see my market in a different way. Because the key is presenting something differently. I mean, if you went out there and you told people, hey, you want to buy a rock, nobody wants to buy a rock. But because the guy who made the pet rock, which we have around here somewhere, actually made a pet rock and a story and everything, it worked very, very well. Framing is everything. This is something that's not talked about enough in business, and I think with AI, it makes it so much easier. Another thing that AI dissected from the way that I use ChatGPT is to think in systems, not posts. One page should imply 100 more. So where a lot of people are looking at it and saying, here's my keyword, write a piece of content, what I'm doing is I'm thinking a step ahead, 2 steps ahead, maybe 5 steps ahead. I'm thinking, what can I do with this? Starting to understand this different and look at it and say, how can I turn one answer into a framework? This is something that I'm doing right now that's actually working way better than I thought it would, and I'm not even doing it. It is what I'm asking AI for. I'm just the spokesperson for it. Like, I'm just the guy here talking, which theoretically, you could probably do with a faceless type channel as well if you want to go that way. But starting to understand that and look at this, it is all about the strategy. A lot of people say, oh, you know, post 10 times on Facebook. Okay, well, post what? Post a video a week or a video a day. Okay, on what? There are people that post a video a day and get nothing. There are people who blog every day and get nothing. What is it that actually works? And that's where we're going to go through and think in systems, not in post. Starting to understand this and see where we're going is absolutely key to using AI to build a business and make money. Another thing I use it for is turning one answer into a framework, designing templates that fan out. Maybe I could go through and say, okay, now that we have all of these top personal whatever ideas, now we can go out and say, now come up with a very concise explanation of how each helps. And then I can go through and say, okay, can I turn this into 50 worksheets people can use, or how to use a tool a day? Now, it's very important. Check your trademarks, check what you can use, check what you can't use, because AI is not really going to do that for you on the first pass. It can do that. It will do that, but we need to prompt it again. But now I could say helps you communicate, persuade, and connect better. Now, extract all the different help things, like what the problems people have are. What we're doing is we're literally taking a list of the top self-help people, the top #1 branding thing they do, extracting what are the problems they have. Boom, now I have a business where I can go through and say, okay, these are the problems. I can make content on these problems, point to my business, which is the traffic, the affiliate program, the company, whatever it is I'm doing, and boom, now we're ready to go. Now I can go through and make worksheets or tools or slideshows or whatever it is about this. This is where you start to use AI like a pro versus, oh, just make me an article about this or make me a tool or whatever it is. Starting to look at that is very important. Paul said my last video on repackaging AI gave him an aha moment. Excellent. And this should too, because it's really looking at like, how can I go and build something of value that's going to help? Because what you can do is you can dissect, you can re-engineer, and you can look at all this stuff. Now I can say, now put the people who help most under each one. Then I could go through and say, okay, now get the top 3 quotes from the top 3 people that help with each of the problems. So if you're looking at procrastination, you got these people. If you're looking at motivation and direction, these people. Do you guys see how this is changing the game? Making us think different, and you're thinking ahead. This isn't about just, let me make some content because the internet needs more words. This is about how do we strategize and think about it differently. This is good for building engines, not just articles. Can I make templates? Can I make something that's going to help? Can I hit on all the problems that people have with this stuff? Right now, we're starting this. I haven't had time, but we're looking at doing this in my Talk Sober business, where I talk about sobriety and things like that, where we're starting with the problem. Like we have a video where we're like, okay, what about maladaptive guilt? Big problem, a lot of people that struggle with addiction have. Can we use that to pivot into stuff rather than just going out there and talking about the same thing each and every week? This is about thinking different, using it for programmatic SEO, bulk content, understanding content that you can make that's actually going to drive people to your stuff. Understanding how to use AI this way in my business has literally tenfold gotten the results where we're like, okay, now I can see things different. Now I can build things that actually work. Going through number 4, iterate like an editor. So instead of going through and just having AI make everything, a lot of people just want to wake up and be like, ChatGPT, how do I make money? And it doesn't really work that way. We need to go through and understand that we are the editor. Good content is shaped, not prompted once. This is about building and growing. Using this strategy of going through and getting these, we could go through and say, now let's start an article and start building this up. And we'll go through and understand exactly what's going on, and boom, now we're ready to go, okay? Super, super cool, and we can build and structure content based on this. So what we're gonna do is strip fluff, reformat. As I say all the time, content structured differently or formatted differently can make you rich. We're gonna look at the constrain output, adjust one variable at a time, build, grow, wash, rinse, repeat. Now I can say, now make a table of contents for these. And it'll start out and get you some kind of book starting or something like that, or content or article or video or whatever it is. Going through and looking at this is absolutely key because it's all about structure. And if we look at the mind map from how I use ChatGPT, this is all dissected over the last 3 years. It's boring, but it's stuff that literally helps me make businesses, which is cool. So when we look at this, we're looking at the ChatGPT operating system and decision engine, where our core philosophy is systems investor. And we can go through, we should be able to open these up a little bit. Let's see, there we go. Okay, so we'll zoom out a little bit. This one for the core philosophy systems inventor, focus on screening for leverage. Notice how we're screening. We are using AI to screen, look at survivability, optionality of the content of whatever it is we're trying to do. Reject 90% of ideas. What we are is an opportunity filter. We're going through and saying, how can I filter out the things I don't want? Business is so much about rejecting what you don't need and don't want as it is about actually doing the work. A lot of what I do is rejecting ideas that can come out. We have a board where we put all the ideas up, and sometimes I'm like, okay, that one gets the can, this one works. We need to understand how to be on top of our business, not in our business, not looking at AI for something different. We're gonna optimize for asymmetric upside, nonlinear payoff, be allergic to dependency. We're going to use multiple sources and paths, as you're seeing here. I'm going through and looking at Gemini. We're looking at ChatGPT. We're looking at Manus. We're looking at all these in a very, very strategic way. And then design for collapse scenarios. How can I design it so that I can build something that's going to work? Content is a vehicle, not the product. Most people look at this the other way around. They think content is the product. They think that what they get from AI is it. Oh, this is so brilliant, it's so great. Unfortunately, in the hustle culture, you have people who think they are very brilliant. I remember one time, my brother is very into this culture. I was talking to him. Halfway through the conversation, he said, oh my gosh, I wish I was recording this. This is gold. And I'm like, I don't think so, but you know, little egotistical there. A lot of people think that with AI. They think, oh my God, everything's gold. And now even AI is telling us, oh, that's a brilliant idea. Good job there, old buddy. Whereas like, it's not always. We don't really need cheerleading committee to tell us how good we are. We need to know what we need, why we need it, and what we're going to use it for. That is the key to AI. If you miss that, you are out. There are so many things to do. There's so much information to gather. There's so many people posting stuff. If you are not laser focused, you're out. And maybe that's one of the benefits I have to the way that my brain works, where when I get hyper-focused on one thing, that's all I care about. And this is another tip to using AI. Get a ChatGPT account that's dedicated for one single purpose. Train that ChatGPT that you want to be able to take everything and look at it through a filter. It's kind of like the news, right? You look at Fox News, you look at CNN News. They get the same news. They're like, hey, you know, this building was built. Okay, great. The building was built. Fox News will say, well, it was built by a Democrat, so it's a bad building. The other one, CNN, will say, well, it was built by a Republican or whatever, or a Democrat, so that's a good thing. What they're doing is they're constantly taking every piece of input, thousands of pieces of news every day, and saying, how does this fit this thing we are trying to do? Now, the news doesn't do that so greatly. I mean, they do it really well, but not for the benefit of everyone. How can we do that in our business? How can we learn from that and use AI as our source of info and say, hey, we need to filter in this way. This is the path I'm going to. This is how it works. I remember years ago, when I used to be a preacher, I worked for this guy, and he would always have ideas based on what went on. Something would happen in the news, and he'd be like, oh, well, that's how to get it here. And then eventually it was like, here's how it leads to the Bible. And basically the Bible part was the end, and all the other stuff was the means. So you have the means and the end. The AI is the means to get what you need. We're going to have it spin to the end, which is the product. Very, very, very important. When you understand this, it's absolutely key. Now, going through here and using AI as a second brain strategist. These are taken from my AI use. This was not pre-planned. It was not something that I went through and edited or anything like that. I literally just went to AI. I said, how do I use AI? Figure it out so that I can teach this to other people. Threw it in here, and it's saying, this is what you do. You're using it like a thinking partner. How do I use it like a partner to think about things in a different way? How do I direct the flow? When I was in recovery, still in recovery, but when I was in actual recovery, right, they told me that the mind is like a lens and you get what you focus on. AI is the same way. Very important to look at that where it's like, okay, I can focus it where I want it to go. This is about focus. I can focus it, say, here's the things we want. Here's how we're going to do them. Now, list each person and a quote they have about each topic under them, right? Very important, because now we can go through and look at this in a different way, and we are literally synthesizing what we want. Now, going through even more, having it like a think partner, a systems designer, a market analysis. This is your employee. This is like having an employee. Going through and looking at that, value structure over words, tables, math, walkthroughs, systems. All this stuff is super, super important when we're using AI. Next up, number 4, control output shape for deployment. If it can't be deployed, it doesn't matter. We want to demand exact counts and enforce structure. The structure is more important than the actual content. A lot of people don't realize that. The structure is more important. We are taught in school that we need the best book report, the best book, the best draft, the best everything. But that's not actually the case in the real world. There are people with very, very bad degrees. Like literally people look to Paris Hilton for politics advice, and it's like, well, why would you go there? She literally inherited. If I want to learn how to inherit money and live off it and start businesses, yeah, then I'll ask her. But other than that, we need to look at what we want for what we want it. And you know, that's the way of the world. Like a best-selling book that's written by people who can get it popular is going to do better than a book that isn't going to do that good because it's not popular. Super important to look at, and we want to understand this. Now, going through here, the structure is everything. When we go through and say, how can I structure this info to get traffic? Okay, you want traffic for self-help, law of attraction, stuff like that. This is boom, this is it. And notice how I'm not creating yet. I haven't started creating anything. I'm just looking and getting the idea of what's going on. Here's our structure, gives you example URLs, all kinds of stuff, which is really cool. Now, understanding even deeper, demand exact counts, enforce structure. Make outputs copy and paste ready, so they're ready to go. I don't want any barrier of entry. Optimize for WordPress, HTML, or tools. Notice that's something that AI says that I'm using, where we're going through and saying, okay, how do we use this for WordPress? Right? I've actually gone through and built complete WordPress pages with this based on the stuff that it creates. Very, very important. Next up, number 6, build with monetization gravity. Traffic without intent is a hobby. We need to know the intent of the traffic, showing the difference between what someone interested in general stuff on the internet versus actual good stuff that people are going to want and has advertising ability is night and day. Reverse engineer buyer intent. This is something I also use AI for. Select higher paying markets, align tools with offers. This page right here, this slide, is probably one of the more valuable ones out of this entire thing, because I can go through and I can say, now, what keywords can I take this kind of traffic through that pays the most on ads or whatever, right? What we're doing is we're looking for a market, understanding that all of these decisions need to be made before you even start to create stuff. Highest paying ad categories, insurance, therapy, all kinds of other stuff, right? Going through and looking at these, this is key. Now we can start to understand exactly what's going on, and we can understand where we're going. Having that point A to point B in your mind is key, because if you don't have it, you're not going to know where you're going, and you need to know where you're going, which is why traffic without intent is an absolute hobby. Next up, when we look at our chart here, when we go through and look at these different layers, we're seeing the 10-layer decision engine. This is what I'm using AI for. Reality check, is this market legit? Well, looking at how much advertisers are paying, yeah, it's legit. Is it something I can do and ethically build and grow? Yes. Look at the money flow map. Where does cash move? How is it going to work? How do we get from a guy who's like, you know, I don't do things, I'm procrastinating. How do we take that guy, get him into actually buying something, or get him into a topic that is worth more money to advertisers? Looking at that money flow map is really key. And with all these images and all these tools and stuff, absolutely really, really big, we understand, okay, this is where the rubber meets the road. Going through, reverse engineering buyer intent, selecting higher paying markets, and aligning with tools. How can I go through and think different? Thinking different is what's going to get you ahead. Next up, number 7, we pressure test like an operator. Assume the math is wrong until proven otherwise. AI is oftentimes terrible with math, so you got to double check your numbers, have it double check, look at the worst case scenarios, walk real bills and flows, and stress test your payouts. Look at everything with a fine-tooth comb. Going through also, we're looking at tool compatibility. Can this support tools? What are some tools, calculators, or AI-powered things I can make in this market? Starting to understand, okay, it's going to think about what we can make and what we can build. Something to look at what's wrong, why it's happening, what do I need next? So this could go through like a burnout risk assessment or anxiety pattern identifier, burnout energy, all kinds of stuff like this can absolutely help in your market. Having AI help you with it is key. Looking at attention logistics, how do people arrive at my content? What do they want? Objection and skepticism map, why wouldn't they buy? Why wouldn't people buy? If you know the answer to that, like 99% of the people going to things don't end up buying it. Okay, if I understand that, now I can go through and look at that, okay? Very, very cool. Next up, we are looking at conversion ethics. How can I convert without hype? How can I convert without junk? How can I make people buy stuff that's actually good? Scalability, can it multiply? Can I do a template for it? Asset ownership, talking about domains and brands. Looking at risk and policy. Is this going to help me? Is it not going to help me? Is it something I should watch out for? Is it something I could make better? These are things that I ask AI all the time. Going through here, looking at number 8, treating AI as a co-builder. A lot of people don't do this. They look at AI as like, oh, AI is smarter than me, so it must be the boss. It's going to make my business. Okay, maybe, maybe not, but AI, you are the boss. AI is the labor. We're going to challenge outputs. We're going to correct assumptions. We're going to force alignment with our mental model. What does that mean? That means I have a mental model. I know where I'm going. I know what I want. I'm going to force AI to find stuff for that outcome. If I don't get stuff that forces that outcome, then I'm going to have it rework it, because that is what I need. It's a one-track, one-focus thing. How is this going to fit this narrative? If I have a site where I'm talking about recovery, okay, what is the narrative? What am I getting people in on? And how is this all going to fit it? Right? You get the news about a new book that comes out. How does that fit the narrative I'm trying to do? Using AI to do that is absolutely key. Number 9, stay compliance first. Obviously, AI is not a lawyer, but it can help you look at certain rules and things like that, like YouTube safety, FTC, brand alignment, brand trust, things like that. Avoiding promises, respecting platform rules, framing educationally, starting to look at things and how we use it. How are we using ChatGPT on a day-to-day basis? This has literally revolutionized my income and my business. So how are we using it? What are we doing? Longevity beats hype every step of the way. What we're doing is we're building assets, not content. This is another big takeaway. I'm building assets with AI. I'm not just building an article, hoping the article ranks. I'm building an asset that can make money over and over. Inventory wins. The assets are your inventory, much like Google. A lot of people don't look at it this way, but Google literally has an inventory of keywords. That means on any given month, X amount of people are going to search for mortgages. That is their inventory. And if you go through and you look at something, let me see if I can get a new tab here. Let's go like this. Let's see. Over here. New tab. And what I'll do is I'll open up SpyFu, and we'll show you what this looks like. And I'll show you the idea of inventory. Okay, so if I do something like mortgage, you're going to see exactly how the inventory works. So when you go to Google and you search for mortgage, over 98,000 people a month search for that. Okay, that is inventory. That means 100,000 people a month search for mortgage. This SpyFu is saying the average person is paying $7.37 a click to be for the word mortgage. All right, times 737 by 100,000 a month, you get an inventory value. That's why Google makes hundreds of billions of dollars a year, because that's their inventory. When you have content, if I have content about mortgages and it gets visitors, advertisers want that traffic. That is like an asset. It is something that I can build and get traffic on and use. Ergo, we are building assets with AI. We are not just going through and making content. Content is good, but it needs to be also an asset. Okay, we don't want just content for the sake of building content. We want to generate tables, tools, lists, prompts, generate reusable components, build things that compound, build things that grow. When you go out there, if you're doing videos, make videos on a platform that's going to build and grow traffic. Don't do one that's a flash in the pan. Oh, great, nobody looked at it. Think about how you can repurpose it. Can I make an asset out of this tool, make a video about it? Can I make a blog post about it? How can I make things that are going to compound and grow? Inventory is the traffic it generates. And we start to look at that, and it starts to change the way that we build, because, okay, maybe I do something today that gets 10 visitors, tomorrow gets another 10, and 10 visitors a day, 10 visitors a day, over and over. Okay, I do 10 of those, then I'll get 100 visitors a day. Starting to build and grow, that's where you build your inventory. Now, going back here, looking at the decision stack we had there, we also have top uses intents. So this is the uses of how ChatGPT is used. Strategy before execution, frame first. Talk through an idea, pressure test, avoid wasted builds. Monetization first thinking. Again, notice I'm thinking about how do I make the money first? Like, I'm here to make money, so if that's not in the process, then I'm not going to make money. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You can have a hobby, you can have an idea, you can have something like that, but if you're going this route, we want to tie everything to affiliate offers, funnels, and tools. Focus on business model, not just writing. This is about the strategy. If you don't have a strategy and you're using AI, it's all fun, it's cute, but this is why you're not making money. You need that strategy. You got to focus on the business model. You got to focus on not just spitting out content. It's not just about content. It's about the strategy behind it. And AI is a game changer when it comes to making it think different. Here's another one, tool as content builder. Can I design calculators, counters, and checklists? Build high-value assets. This is taken straight from ChatGPT saying, hey, this is what Marcus asks me about all the time. This is what we learned. This is what we got. Also, going through market mapping and objection mining. Going through request objection lists. So what are the things people don't like? What are the things people do like? Analyze fear, doubt, and skepticism. What are their fears, their doubts? What keeps them up at night? Optimize for trust and survivability. Compliance-aware hustler. So we want to have hustle, but we also want to check the TOS and the affiliate disclosure rules and do things good. Doing this just changed something that I believe is going to be my next seven-figure play. And it's so stupidly simple. I was basically just fighting myself on, I thought the content was too boring, but people are loving it. And it is so easy to do. I can make 100 pieces of content a day on it if I want to. And the fun part about it is all these other people are doing this in an unethical way. All I have to do is be the voice of reason and tell them the honest way to do it. Boom, jackpot. We're going to find aggressive hooks without having issues. How do I make something good that's going to piggyback on the idea that, hey, these go viral, this works, this is something people are interested in, and make it work in a different way? Very, very important. And these are the things that change the way you use AI. Show workflows, prompts, thinking process. We can even go out there and say, now, based on this, make some infographics based on how I use AI to build businesses and make money online. It'll go through and it'll start to think about all this stuff and dissect it and say, hey, here's the things to use. Super, super important. So now we're going to go through. It's making the images with the new ChatGPT image builder, which is actually pretty cool. It's going through, it's giving us the map, user, load balancer, web servers, all this stuff. And then it goes on decision making, everything like that, which is pretty cool. And it's going to go through and look at those decision engines and basically map everything out. Again, I will have all this stuff over in the notes at personalityprompts.com, along with the 12 prompts and other cool stuff. Now, next up, using Canvas for convergence. When you use Canvas in here, you can go through and you can start to see with Canvas, you can make tools. You're just going to go down here, go down to Canvas, and you can make web tools and software and stuff like that. When you go into here, what we're doing is we're using Canvas for conversions. We're taking the thinking and locking it in something, stabilizing the structure, finalize the wording, create a single source of truth. How many of you guys want a real world example of how I would do this? I'll just show you how I would do this. You guys can go, we'll put it up on Personality Prompts. You can test it out, you can use it. You'll see, I mean, it's literally an amazing way to go about it. What I could do is I could go through, I can use ChatGPT, and I can go to Canvas, and if you guys want that, smash the like button if you want to see me do that. We're going to go through, we're going to use Canvas, and I'll say now using using, let's say, I think it might work with the APIs here, but what I would do is I'd say, now let's make a think like Marcus tool that takes a simple prompt and asks questions the way Marcus would. Now, I would probably do this in Gemini because Gemini is going to do this a bit better. So if I take all this, I think it'll fit in ChatGPT or Gemini. Let's go over to Gemini here. Gemini. Right, like that. And I'll go in here and we'll do a new chat. We'll go into Canvas. And what I would do is I'd say, let's use all the ways I use AI to make a Gemini-powered tool that thinks like Marcus, takes the prompt and rewords it or gives questions and directions. How many of you guys would actually use this, right? And this is what we want to do, is we want to think different and start to build and grow based on this, right? Looking at that, we're going to go through and say, okay, now I can use Canvas to build something that'll actually work. Trying to find something, trying to find, okay, how do I structure this different? How do I make it work in a different way? If I was going to take the top self-help personal growth stuff, can I make a tool that, oh, hey, you put in this issue, boom, it's going to go find the top quote from the top person or the top book that you should read for that or something like that. Now we're going to have something that'll work really, really well. And when you start to understand that and see that, it's literally a game changer. Like, there you go. It's like, okay, now I think different. I can build different. I can make things people want. I can make things people like, need, everything like that. Starts to change everything. Now going through here, we could probably see how it's actually going to work over here. And it'll build it for you. You just do a little bit of structuring and stuff like that. So the Marcus Brain Decision Engine. So what's my raw idea? Top self-help problems that top gurus help with. All right, I could do a full business audit tool. Look at that, the 10-layer decision, and knew that there's the 10-layer decision engine that I use with AI. And I didn't know I used that. It had to go through and extract that. That's the beauty of AI that people aren't paying attention to. It can extract things in a really crazy way, and most people are using it to make content or funny images and things like that, where I can go through and I could be like, boom, laser target into something that's going to work. So if I do objection mining, full business audit, let's just do a full business audit on that one. Right? And how many of you guys are like, dude, I want to use this tool like yesterday, okay? And notice how using AI the way that I do helped us extract this idea, which can now be something that can work. Reality check, is the market real? Yes, self-improvement coaching is massive. Focus on specific. Now, I would fix it and make it answer a little bit prettier, but you know, this gives the idea and shows how it would work. Market viability score, 7 out of 10. Marcus Pivot, the certified solution mapper. Core asset solution readiness assessment tool, showing you all the stuff that you can do to look at. Very, very cool. And then you can even do like prompt engineer. What would I do if I wanted a prompt like Marcus, right? How many of you guys are seeing this and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the game-changing aha moment? Because now I see it's about synthesizing and getting that structure out of data, right? Like let's put it in a real world way. All right, come on in here. Let's have a real world talk. You know, let's get through this stuff. All right. When I first started to learn, I remember I think it was 1999 or 2000. And I was on these forums trying to learn internet marketing. And everyone said that I needed to learn copywriting. I need to learn copywriting. You got to learn how to write things that people will buy. And so I sat down and I write a sales letter, and I was super proud of it, but it was a piece of junk and it didn't sell anything. And so I had to learn. And the way that you learn copywriting, you could listen to tapes and talks and courses, but the best way to learn copywriting is to read copy. Like that was it. You go, you read Letters by Gary Halbert, you read all these things, you get a swipe file, you do all this. 26 years later, I'm able to write pretty good copy. How am I able to do that? Consuming all of this content made me able to recognize patterns, ideas, and things that would work. That is what AI literally was made to do, right? Like self-driving cars, what is it made to do? Look at the red light and stop. Know where the line is, know where the guards are, buff, 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 buff. How is it trained? By driving a lot. How are we trained? By driving a lot. What happens is AI is now shortcutting the process because it can do hundreds of thousands of years worth of things in a little time. So what if we can give it things that are different? What if we could say, here's all of these things, now extract this. Here's what all the self-help people did. This is another thing. You look at NLP, which is a very popular psychology thing, is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. The two people who founded NLP, okay, they got some interesting stuff, some good stuff, and some things that are like, bro, no, we're not, no. But what they did is they looked at the top therapists, hypnotherapists, and all the people that were getting results. They're like, okay, this guy, you sit in a chair for 20 years, you get no outcome. This guy just talks about things. This guy, his people are getting better. What do? This is why it works in the medical field, because it can look at thousands of things and be like, oh, hey, you know what? This actually helps this condition. Frameworks, understanding, building, growing. If you could put in this what you want and look at real world stuff, hopefully the camera will follow us here, but look at real world stuff, that's where the magic starts to happen. We go through, we build things like this, we understand. And if you make something like this, make it for just you, right? You go out there, watch how this changes the way that you think. We go here, who are the top people teaching viral Facebook methods, and what do they teach, and what are their top strategies, right? Going through here, this is going to pull from its data. These people already tested all the Facebook stuff. They know what works. They're going to teach it. You can go through and get all of this, and you can even say like list 100 or whatever. It'll get all that data, and you say, what is it that works the best for them, right? And there we go. List 50 more. And it'll go through and do all these, and then I can go through and I can make a tool for myself or even for other people and say, here is the social media thing. And what we want to do is we want to dissect the strategy. It is not about the person. It's not about what they say. It's about a strategy that consistently works over time, over and over and over again, the more you do it. If you look at the top copywriters, they're going to say, oh, the key is this, the key is that, the key is this. Well, there's one key, and it's the same over and over. Actually, this was a very difficult lesson for me to learn. For years in the marketing industry, top webinar people were like, use slides, always use slides. The more you sell, the more people like it. I hate that. When I hop on a webinar, I want to teach you guys good stuff. That's my goal. Like sales, yeah, I hope you buy stuff because that's, how I make a living here. But going through and looking at that and saying, okay, well, how can I both teach things and sell stuff at the same time? Because we have to have a balance. Where for me, my inclination is fire up the computer, let's see what I do. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday on our webinars for our students. And we literally just fire up the computer. I'm like, here's what I do. Here it is. We're going to show you what I do. Nothing held back, just this is how I make a living. Show you niches, show you sites I build, show you all the stuff that I do. We answer questions. Those are the things I love. What I don't love is slideshow things that to me are super boring. However, I noticed Russell Brunson, Fladlien, whatever his name is, other webinar guys, slides. So I'm like, okay, let's test it. I was launching this program for personality prompts, and I was sitting there, and I was like, I don't have my notes. I had to go to the gym. It was 9 in the morning. The webinar was at 3. I was not ready. So I went over to Manus, which is one of my favorite AIs, and I asked Manus, hey, based on this, make a slideshow so that I could sell this thing. Poof. I literally read the slides. That's all I did is read the slides. I was bored out of my mind. I was like, this webinar sucks. Ain't nobody gonna buy anything. This is boring. Best-selling webinar all year. I was like, well, that's a strategy that was extracted, that worked. It's something they learned over time. Boom. Extract it, make it work. If you can learn to extract things like this, here's the top people. Now, boil all the strategies they use. Remove duplicates and make one big list. And if you can start to funnel, this is something I learned, I'll tell you, the best guru course I ever had was when I went to rehab. I went there with a notepad. Everyone else was just like hanging out, like, oh, bro, this sucks. I had my notepad. I'm like, I'm paying cash. My insurance didn't want to pay for anything, so I had to pay cash for it. I sat there with my notebook, and I'm like, I'm going to get as much as I can. One of the things that I learned stuck with me so well. I might teach you that now because it was huge. It was an absolutely huge thing. I think we're on this camera here. Let's see. Bring that over here. It was called, I'll try to spell correctly, categorical reference. Okay? This is something that will change your world with AI because AI innately does this. AI works on the way that the human brain works. That's why I was like, wow, that was kind of, that worked, that I learned a lot of stuff in the rehab. But what happens here is in categorical reference, you have boxes in your mind, okay? Lots of boxes. We'll try to draw lots of boxes here. You're going to have lots of boxes in your mind, and you are going to take new data and try to fit it to old boxes. This is why it's hard to learn something new, because you're constantly looking for the box it goes in. I say, hey, strategy, and you go, oh, that reminds me of this. Boom, and you put it right here, and that's the end of it. You close the door. Now, what AI is good at doing is putting the categorical reference where it's looking for the categories, the tips, the strategies, the similarities, and all of this stuff so that we can synthesize data in a different way, right? We look at it, we say, okay, well, what do all the top SEO guys say? You want to get traffic from Google. Okay, what do they say to do? Well, 50 of them mention this one thing, 20 of them say this, and here's this other thing that always works. It's going to look for what always works. Categorical reference is absolutely key because going through here, here's all of our strategies, right? Now I can say, now let's make a categorical, and look at this. Facebook virality is not hacks. It's engineered momentum, content, engagement, amplification, community, monetization. This is literally going to save you money on courses that promise all these crazy things, because now we're going to go through and be like, okay, how do we make it zoom out? Now we're going to go through and be like, okay, now I can see this in a completely different way. Now I can see, oh, we need to go that way. There we go. Now I can see this in a completely different way, and it'll start to work for me. There we go. Very important. Now I could say, now let's make a categorical reference sheet, like a bingo card image showing what I need to go viral. And see how this gives you ideas. Like, what if I had the viral bingo card? Boom, there we go. These are things where we're thinking of how to put them, and we're thinking with the AI. A lot of people up and coming in the days, years, and months ahead, they're going to use AI to do their thinking. And they'll be like the vast majority. Like you always have the vast majority of people that are doing all this stuff, and we're going to go through and make it work. AS says the 80-20 rule when it comes to online is more like 99.01. I find it to be 80-20 is actually pretty accurate when you're doing things. You need to focus on the right things. Focus your effort on the 20, and you'll get more of the things that actually hit. But starting to look at this, now we'll make this bingo card to go viral or whatever it is, and we'll start to see it. But using Canvas for convergence is very key because it'll go through and it'll help us. We're using deep research. Deep research is one of the most underutilized tools in AI. People have no clue how to use it. There's a couple people who do, and what we're going to do is we're going to use it for external truth. Validate against reality, not opinions. So I could literally go through here. I can get all of these things, boom, and I can say, search these, right? So I would go through and take all of this, Facebook virality bingo card. I could go into Gemini. I can go into deep research, paste all this in. It should get me a good report based on that. And it'll back it up with data and everything like that. Starting to look at that is very, very important, right? Because now I can go through and I can use deep research to confirm facts, ground data, find other stuff, use for authority pages, credibility, and more. You are the director of content. A lot of people think AI is the boss. Hey, AI, go do all this stuff. No, we need to focus. Very important. Next up, we're looking at sequence thinking. Notice how in this webinar I've gone through and sequence thought, like, okay, how does this work? How does that work? Where can things fit in here? And you're constantly looking at it. Very, very, very important. Starting to understand that, now we can look at the different phases. Converse. How do we frame what's going on? What is framing? Framing is like this. I just framed it with all this AI stuff. Now we're going to start the research on all that stuff. Does that make sense? Where most people would just be like, oh, deep research, you know, how to take care of an elephant or whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah, fine, good. But direction is everything. Input, output, everything. If you give it bad input, you're going to get bad output. Converse, frame reality. Research, validate externally. Look for outside validation of what you're thinking about. You got a business idea? Go to deep research. Say, here's my business idea. Validate this with other things that are going on. Find other businesses that are doing this. Tell it where to find the other businesses. Directing it is key. I used this for years before AI came out. I would go to Google. I would use my prompting stuff. There's actually a really good video on my blog that's about what is it called? Search parameters, search like joggers. It was about search joggers. That was it. And we talked about joggers that you could use in Google to find things, right? Like you want to find something with this. Okay, cool. You want to find a product, you use this. And it talked about little joggers that you can use. They're on the Google website. They show them and everything like that. But we talked about how to use them in a way where we could search and get info for the purpose that we want. It's very important in business that you always say for the purpose of. Okay, I'm writing an article for the purpose of what? If your answer is just to get traffic, no, that you don't know what you're doing, right? How are you going to get traffic? Where are you going to place it? What is it going to be used for? Converse, research, canvas, look at your structure, generate, scale assets, deploy, and monetize. This is why AI usage practically helps you make money. We're going to say helps you make money because that's a little forward thinking there. The Marcus Campbell doctrine defined. So this is straight from my ChatGPT. Use AI as a market-aware production system to frame reality, borrow authority, validate externally, converge deliberately, and scale monetizable assets, not to create content. Yet 99% of the gurus out there are telling you to create content. Content's good, but if you don't have that other stuff before it, you're just making noise to an audience of none. This is super, super important. Again, it's all about strategy. Top outputs, what AI should produce for you. Don't just chat, build inventory, make reports, white papers, images, visual assets, content, articles, scripts, tools, calculators, comparison pages, and more. Start to understand you are the director, you're making these things for a purpose. Let's take a look at how this is doing. It's still researching. Let's go back here. We had our last one over here, which is top outputs. Okay, so this is a big one. What are the top outputs that I'm asking AI for? Is it a report? Is it a TXT? What is it? Now, this does differ from AI to AI. Primarily with Manus, I'm looking for TXTs and files. ChatGPT, a little bit different. So what are the top outputs I request from ChatGPT? This is good. This is actually going to be super helpful for those paying attention. Structured reports that are monetizable ready. Niche viability, business in the box domain report. So I often use it for finding good short domains. Keyword lists, interesting. Not a lot of people talk to you about using AI for keyword lists. Objections, things people don't like, tool ideas, and more. Visual assets and image concepts. Infographics, I use that a lot. Thumbnail and headline. Actually, thumbnails I've switched over to Manus. We have a video coming out about that. Do not skip that video. That video is going to be a doozy, and it's actually helped me get a lot more traffic. Content frameworks, outlines, fan-out frameworks. How do you get one idea into multiple things? Tables and money logic heavy, comparing affiliate offers, breaking it down, traffic math. Prompts, JSON prompts, modular prompts. So I actually use AI to create prompts, which is great. I've built an entire business around that over at Personality Prompts. Simple code, embeds, HTML, calculators, and more. Looking at these as the way that I use AI, I think is absolutely eye-opening because you're starting to see. And how many of you guys find this eye-opening? You guys like this? Let me know. Smash that like button. But what we're doing is we're using it to build a business, not just one thing. Next up, what to feed the AI, your analysis inputs. Garbage in, garbage out, feed it gold. Feed it good stuff. When I went here and I fed it all the stuff for the viral things, and now I'm having it research it, that's what you're doing, right? Use AI to figure out what to feed AI. This is big, because if I can go through and use it and say, okay, well, here's the direction I want, here's what I want you to focus on, now go build this. I've done this to build tools. We built a amazing mortgage calculator. I mean, it just blew my mind how amazing it was. And then we actually used 2 AIs to compete with each other to figure out, hey, I think this is better. Oh, I'd add this. Oh, hey, I'd add that. Again, that's a video here on the channel. If you guys haven't found my videos yet, go watch them. There's a lot of good stuff. But looking at that, we're looking for competitor content gaps, market data and trends, expert frameworks, user questions, and search intent. Next up, keep digging. This is my research philosophy for AI as defined by AI. Not what I'm telling you. This is what AI says, hey, this is what Marcus is doing. So don't follow what I talk about, follow what I do. Here's what I'm doing. The gold is always deeper than the first answer. Key mindsets go deeper than surface answers. Challenge every assumption. Explore edge cases and anomalies. That's how you say it, right? Uncover hidden opportunities. This is key. Starting to understand this and look at it is going to change the way you use AI. Package it. Create shareable assets. Knowledge is useless if it can't be transferred. I heard it once said, I don't know if it's actually dictionary fact, but it was said that wisdom is applied knowledge. I like that definition. I don't know how true it is, but it's a pretty cool one. Knowledge is useless if it can't be used or transferred. Create super detailed reports. Build reusable templates and frameworks. Design systems others can use. You guys want an idea that just came from this? You can make little bingo cards people can use before they do all kinds of stuff. You're going to write an SEO report. Here's the SEO bingo card. I'm going to start using them right now. I'm going to Teams someone in a minute and tell them, hey, this is what we want to do. This can work. Those are helpful. It's fun. It's engaging. It can be used and transferred. Very, very key. Again, all the notes and the whole breakdown, we have our whole team working on this where we're going to make notes and prompts and tools out of this training so that you can get the same kind of stuff. I have a philosophy here on the channel that I teach you everything I know. If you want to work with me and get some of the nitty gritty, you can find that. But everything I know will be taught here and has been taught here. Going through here, personalityprompts.com, again, you can get that. Here's another one. Super detailed report, your ultimate asset. Authority is built on depth, not width. Super important. Comprehensive, well-structured. Data-backed and verified. Establish instant authority, drives action and conversion. Very, very important. How can you... Yeah, I don't know what you're asking there in the chat. Next up, if you want the prompts, you can get them here. We also have the 12 days of prompting. These are going to come available throughout the season, right? You'll see these will be populated as we go through. We're going to have all kinds of prompts and tools there for you. Also, going through here, let's see how this report came out. So the Facebook virality bingo card. Now notice, this is trained on the stuff that people said. Algorithmic engineering in the late 225 discovery engine. There, look at that. I mean, it is amazing. It literally made it for me. I didn't even have to ask it, and it made it for me. It explains it. Here's all the other stuff. Going through and looking at this, doing deep research on things that you literally already deep researched, are you guys seeing the difference in the output? Type night and day or amazing or something like that as a comment if you see it. Starting to look at this is how you're going to get things that will help people. Instantly help people. Understanding how people are. Like, okay, most people just read headlines. It's a fact. It's a sad fact, but it is a fact. Most people just read one thing, make a conclusion, and boom, there they go, it's done. So how can we interrupt this busy world with things that will help them? Starting to understand exactly how we go through and look at this. Look at how it's working, what's going on, how do we direct AI to make this stuff work? How do we focus on things? Going through, looking at, okay, how are we using this AI? Let's take a look at some other things that Notebook LM made based on my stuff. So again, for those just joining, we took my entire ChatGPT and I asked it, based on my history of 3 years of using ChatGPT, what do I do? How do I make money? What do I do with this? And we were able to go through and look at, it made little slideshows. Most people use AI as a low-level task store. And I mean, look at these slides here. This is literally going through. Stop asking, can I make money with this? Start asking, is it worth building into my ecosystem? Most people use AI as a low-level task doer. Content is a vehicle, not the product. I mean, this does an amazing job and gives me assets that I can use based on info that is helpful. Most people are going to come in here and do a one and done. Hey, what's the best way to save money? All right, boom. Okay, that could be helpful, but this is better, right? How many of you guys find this better than the run-of-the-mill make money videos? We're like, hey, wait a minute. This actually works. This is showing us inside the wheels of the engine that drive the money-making machine online that can be built with AI. Starting to understand that's key. Looking at it like a business, understanding, hey, the vast majority of people trying to make money online make nothing. But if I can go through and understand business, understand content, understand what's on the internet, how to use it, how to study it, how to understand it, that's key. That is what AI does. And a lot of people don't realize the power that they have. Like Notebook LM, if I had this back in 2000 when I was starting my business, my families would be retired. Starting to understand, wait a minute, the power of what we have is undeniable, and it's literally dirt cheap right now. It's in how do you use it. Here's another one that made a podcast on it. AI as a business strategist. Here's a video it made on it. Again, this is all about the content that I literally just gave it. Again, it's about making different things that will help people. Understanding what is it that draws people in, how can I keep them in, and how can I make it work? Here's an infographic on the decision engine, a 10-layer filter for online business. Now again, this is based on my stuff, which is what makes it valuable to my audience. Knowing what your audience values, you could use AI to be a machine to make things that are really good. Here's another one with a quiz. It goes through a quiz of, how does it work? What is the primary purpose behind most of his queries? According to the analysis, what is it? To find, collect interesting prompts, quickly write and publish, serve as monetization. I'm going to say this. Not quite. It was close, right? So I can see even AI knows more about my stuff than I do because it's based on fact, which is cool. This helps me teach. This helps me learn. I mean, what this does is night and day different. And if you understand how to use it properly, which is what this whole training's about, it's going to change the way that you think so that you can start to use it in your business in the right way. Let's see what else we had. Flashcards. What is the principal strategy? In the monetization first. Okay, so that's interesting. That's cool. So it'll go through and get you all that stuff and help you understand it. But that's the key, is understanding, okay, I can use this in a different way. So for the notes on this video, personalityprompts.com. If you guys got any questions, put them as a comment. I'll follow up with another video about this. Hopefully you guys like this. It's a little bit different than normal, but I think it was kind of like a deep dive into what is it that I use AI for. It's almost like, if you can see what businesses, like if you spent a day at a top business, you'd learn more than their top course because you'll see what they do, which is really, really important. So starting to understand that is absolutely key. We'll get you some notes and everything. If you guys enjoyed this, smash the like button. Let me know in the comments, and we will see you over at Personality Prompts, where we'll have all kinds of prompts and cool stuff. Thanks for watching. See you in the next training.